Hello and welcome. Today we will listen to a famous story from Europe. It is from Germany. The story is called The Pied Piper of Hamelin. Listen slowly. After the story, we will practice vocabulary, shadowing, and questions. Let's begin.
Hamelin was a small town in Germany. The town was beautiful, but the people were tired. They had a big problem. There were rats everywhere. The rats ran in the streets. They went into houses. They ate bread and cheese. They bit bags of grain. At night, people heard small feet in the walls. Many people could not sleep well. The mayor called a meeting. He stood in front of the town leaders. "We must stop the rats," he said. "If we do nothing, the town will lose food and money." But no one had a good plan. Some people tried traps. Some people used cats. Nothing worked for long. The rats always came back. One morning, a stranger walked into Hamelin. He wore a long coat with bright colors. He had a small flute in his hand. He looked calm and confident. He said, "I can help you." The mayor looked at him and asked, "How?" The stranger smiled. "I can lead the rats out of your town," he said. The mayor was surprised. "Lead them out?" he asked. "Yes," the stranger said, "with my music." The town leaders began to laugh, but the stranger did not laugh. The mayor said, "If you do this, we will pay you." "How much?" the stranger asked. The mayor thought for a moment. "We will pay you 1,000 gold coins," he said. The stranger nodded. "Good," he said, "but remember your promise." The mayor waved his hand. "Yes, yes," he said, "we promise." The stranger walked to the middle of the street. He lifted the flute to his lips. Then he played. The sound was clear and sweet. It was not loud, but everyone heard it. Soon, something strange happened. Rats came out of the walls. They came out of holes in the ground. They came from under doors and stairs. At first, people felt fear, but then they saw the rats were not attacking. The rats were following the music. The stranger walked slowly. He played the flute and moved forward. The rats followed him like a long, dark river. People watched from windows. They stood on the streets and stared. The stranger led the rats to the edge of the town. There was a river near Hamelin. The river was deep and cold. The stranger walked toward the river. He did not stop playing. The rats followed him into the water. One by one, they disappeared. Soon there were no rats in the streets, no rats in the houses, no rats in the walls. The town was quiet. People cheered. They clapped. Some people cried with relief. The mayor smiled proudly. The stranger returned to the town hall. He said, "The rats are gone. Now pay me." The mayor looked at him and frowned. 1,000 gold coins is too much," he said. "You only played music. That was easy." The stranger's smile disappeared. He said, "You made a promise." The mayor crossed his arms. "We will pay you 50 gold coins," he said. "That is fair." The stranger's eyes became cold. 50? he asked. "Yes," the mayor said. "Take it or leave it." The stranger took a slow breath. "Then listen carefully," he said. "You will remember this day." He turned and walked out of the town hall. People whispered. Some people felt uncomfortable, but they said nothing. That afternoon, children were playing in the streets. They ran and laughed. They jumped over small puddles. They played games near the market. The stranger came back. He stood in the street again. He lifted his flute, and he played. This music was different. It was still sweet, but it felt strange. It sounded like a dream. Children stopped playing. They looked at the stranger. Their faces became quiet and calm. Then, slowly, they began to follow him. At first, parents smiled. They thought it was a funny parade. But the stranger kept walking. More children followed. Then many children followed. Parents began to worry. "Where are you going?" they shouted. But the children did not answer. They kept walking behind the music. The stranger led the children out of town. He walked toward a hill near Hamelin. The hill had a dark opening, like a doorway. People ran after them. The mayor ran too. "Stop!" he shouted. "Please stop!" But the stranger did not stop playing. The children reached the hill. Then something impossible happened. The hill opened wider, like a gate. The children walked inside. One by one, they disappeared into the darkness. Parents screamed. They tried to run inside, but the opening closed. The hill became silent and still again. The town leaders fell to the ground. The mayor's face turned white. He could not speak. That night, Hamelin was quieter than ever. No rats, no laughter, only empty streets. Some people said the town learned a lesson. A promise is not a joke. A promise is a promise. And even today, people ask one question. If you were the mayor, would you have paid him?
Vocabulary A2B1 12. Useful words, phrases. Rat, a small animal that can live in cities. The rats ate the bread. Meeting, a time when people talk and decide. The mayor called a meeting. Stranger, a person you do not know. A stranger came to town. Flute, a small musical instrument. He played the flute. Lead, led. To guide someone to follow you. He led the rats away. Promise, to say you will do something, you made a promise. Pay, paid. To give money for a service, now pay me. Coin, a piece of money made of metal, 1,000 gold coins. Follow, to go behind someone, the children followed him. Quiet, with little or no sound. The town was quiet. Worry, to feel afraid about something. Parents began to worry. Lesson, something you learn from an experience. The town learned a lesson.
Shadowing practice. 10 sentences. Round 1. Normal speed. Hamelin was a small town in Germany. The town had a big problem with rats. A stranger came with a flute. He promised to help, but he wanted payment. The mayor promised 1,000 gold coins. The rats followed the music to the river. The town was happy at first, but the mayor refused to pay the full price. The stranger played again, and the children followed. The town learned that promises are serious. Round 2. Slow speed. Read very slowly, clear pauses. Hamelin was a small town in Germany. The town had a big problem with rats. A stranger came with a flute. He promised to help, but he wanted payment. The mayor promised 1,000 gold coins. The rats followed the music to the river. The town was happy at first, but the mayor refused to pay the full price. The stranger played again, and the children followed. The town learned that promises are serious.
Comprehension quiz. Pause and answer. Where is Hamelin? In Germany, what problem did the town have? Rats were everywhere. What instrument did the stranger play? A flute. What did the mayor promise to pay? 1,000 gold coins. What did the mayor actually offer in the end? 50 gold coins. What happened when the stranger played the second time? The children followed him and disappeared into the hill. That's the end of today's lesson. If you understood the story and answered the quiz, well done. Now, listen again and repeat the shadowing sentences one more time. If you want more slow English stories at A2B1 level, subscribe to the channel. Write your score in the comments. How many questions did you get right out of 6? See you in the next video.